do critical squares help convert a chess advantage? Imagine you're in a tight endgame and you have a small edge. The question is, how do you turn that small advantage into a win? One of the key ideas is controlling critical squares. These are specific spots on the board that, if occupied by your king, can make a huge difference. They often lead to pawn promotion or winning more material. Think of it like a strategic checkpoint that your king needs to reach to push your advantage forward. When you have a material lead, such as an extra pawn, knowing which squares are critical helps you plan your king's route. If you can reach those squares before your opponent, you can force the pawn to promote. That turns your positional or material advantage into a tangible victory. Critical squares are not just about promotion. They also come into play in tactics. For example, if a square is attacked by your pieces and defended equally by your opponent, it becomes a critical battleground. Controlling that square can give you tactical opportunities like forks or pins. These tactics can win you more material or improve your position further. In the middle game, spotting these squares helps you create threats or defend against your opponent's ideas. In endgame theory, controlling critical squares is often the key to pawn promotion. The idea is to get your king onto a key square near your pawn. If your king can occupy that square, it can shield the pawn from enemy attacks and support its advance. The exact squares depend on how far your pawn has advanced. For a pawn not yet moved, the critical squares are usually 2 ranks ahead. For a more advanced pawn, they are closer to the promotion square. Practicing this involves calculation. You need to figure out which squares are critical for your pawns and your opponents. Then, plan how to get your king there first. Techniques like opposition, where 2 kings face each other with an odd number of squares between them, help you outmaneuver your opponent. Mastering opposition is essential for controlling critical squares in pawn endgames. This idea extends beyond simple pawn endgames. It applies to complex pawn structures too. Recognizing the critical squares in these structures helps you respond correctly to your opponent's moves. It also helps you create threats by controlling important squares. This awareness makes your play sharper and more precise throughout the game. To put it simply, identifying critical squares and moving your king to control them is a powerful way to convert even small advantages into wins. It's about calculation, timing, and understanding which squares matter most. When you master this, you can push your advantage with confidence, knowing exactly where to go and what to do. This approach is a core part of endgame strategy and can make the difference between a draw and a win.